Well, Mississippi State came in red hot and got shut out 9-0. How does a team that has been so dominant suddenly fall flat? We're breaking down the shocker, the warning signs, and what no one's saying, but they probably should be.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Go to FanDuel.com. I'm Jaron, sport writer, a national college football writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon McBride. We got an exciting show, somewhat exciting. The first segment's not, because if you watch that game, it's definitely not exciting. Yeah. But we got to break down what happened in the first round of the SEC tournament. We're also going to talk about what that means in terms of regional play, where we think they might go, what might be their seed, things like that. Also, we got some recruiting news standard as Brodie McWhorter was in action at a camp this summer, or this offseason, I guess, and put on quite a show. So we'll talk about that. That's coming up a little later. But first, let's get right into it. Not great.
No, that's an understatement. The errors are back, and it was just two, but it was two that should have been routine outs
and ended the game
and led to a huge inning. Ended it early. It was ugly, and it looks bad for McPherson, but he didn't really pitch that bad. Like, he didn't pitch great. I'm not trying to say he pitched great and the defense let him down, but he didn't pitch bad enough to give up 6 runs in those 2 innings and change. So
I really felt bad for him because, he's a young player, obviously, and young guys, they need to build confidence early because usually, and it's just how young players are. I think McPherson, by the way, just kind of side note, I think he's got a chance to be a really good pitcher. But when things start to go sideways, it's natural for a young player who, all he's done in his high school career is be successful. That's why he's at this level. And so he didn't have to face much adversity throughout high school. Right. And so when you're hit with adversity, usually you're kind of slow to react, or maybe you kind of fall apart. It's just the nature of being a young player, and especially one that we talked about on yesterday's show, hadn't pitched much in the last month. And so it's not like he's been thrown out there a lot, faced some adversity this year, and then boom. I mean, he certainly has faced adversity this year, but he hadn't faced it a lot because he hadn't pitched a lot. I felt bad for him because the first inning he strikes out 3 batters. He allows 1 double, but strikes out 3 at bats. So he's really feeling good about himself. Then he comes back. The second inning should be a routine fly ball right off the bat, and the outfielder stumbles, and he gets I believe they got a double out of it. Mm-hmm. Then the next at bat should be a routine ground out, and it goes under the glove. So after having this strong first inning of 3 strikeouts, he should be right back with 2 straight outs to start this inning. But instead, it's base runners, and then we started seeing him start walking. Then he hit a guy. Yeah. There was that one moment he threw a pitch. He thought it was a strike 3 call. He started to walk like he struck him out, and he was going to get out of the inning. Yeah. They called it a ball. Mm-hmm. I think the next pitch was the hit, I believe. I think he hit him on the next pitch, and you could just see he was rattled at that point, which is the risk of pitching someone young, and we kind of talked about that. But the one thing I want to toss before I toss it over to you is I said this is a warning sign of things people aren't talking about but should be talking about. I said that in the intro. The reason why I say that is because I saw so many people talk about, look, Lemonis is gone. They're 9-1. They're having this great season. Look, Lemonis was the problem. No, he needed to be gone. We've made that clear. But he's not the only problem. This was a poorly built roster. The errors were a problem. Mm-hmm. They were playing good. It kind of makes you feel like they were playing really good because of that schedule, which we talked about was a possibility. But people want to pin it all on Lemonis, and he's going to get the brunt of it because he was the head coach. But these issues are here because of a poorly built roster, which he had a hand in, but the whole staff did too.
Yeah, the errors and the lack of pitching depth are still here. Yeah, they've just kind of been hidden because they were playing a little bit better baseball and they were playing weaker teams, so the lack of pitching depth wasn't as noticeable. as it will be as you play better. And we mentioned, I thought it was interesting when it was announced the game was postponed. I was like, will this change, the pitching plan? Because you got that extra day off. Will it change?
Well, and it did change for A&M. Yeah.
They brought in their ace.
And he was great.
Mm-hmm.
And he was great.
Yeah. So not saying that if you make the pitching change, the errors don't happen. You don't blow the game anyway.
Right.
But it does show the difference in playing for tomorrow versus playing for today. And A&M played for today, and they won because of it.
Yeah, and Davis and Burns, they came in. They did pretty good. Dotson also pitched some, and I think Foster was the other one that pitched. They all four of those guys pitched pretty well. And if you look at McPherson, 5 earned runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, doesn't look like this great day. But again, I think it's a totally different story if those 2 routine plays happen.
Oh, yeah.
Routine plays happen. You've now gotten 5 outs since you started the game. You've struck out 3 of them. You've got 2 easy outs on the next 2 at-bats. McPherson's probably feeling good, getting that and is ready to roll. And it just fell off, and then the grand slam happened, and again, it's 6-0 just like that, and he's done at that point. I mean, first off, he's mentally done, but he also was literally done because he got pulled out. But, yeah, you're just done.
Yeah, I mean, if he had got those 2 outs, I mean, you probably get out of that inning with no runs scored.
Right.
I mean, you're at 2 outs, nobody on. Worst thing that happens there, you give up a solo homer? I mean, obviously I know the grand slam wasn't the next batter, but, you're rolling at that point. And he would not have been rattled. He would not have been nervous. It would have been just mowing him down. So it's unfortunate that happened. Only really, I guess, positive note, Ace Reese extended the hitting streak.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
We got that going for us.
20 games, I believe now.
22 games. So, I mean, his bat's still going. No one else's is, apparently. I know.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean, you get shut out. It just looks bad, especially when you have the 2 errors and how it happened and leading to the grand slam. It was just an ugly game. It's one of those ones that you kind of want to just flush the game tape.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I will say this, they kind of shot themselves in the foot some too, because in that first inning, Ace Reese is up. They have 1 out. They have a runner on second, and he strikes out looking. Now, you can't really fault him because he had such a great game. But that was a big play. I can't remember if it was the 6th or 7th inning. They had 2 guys on. They don't end up scoring at all that inning. So that, they shot themselves in the foot too, offensively, not just defensively. Yeah. But Texas A&M has only shut out 5 people all season long, 5 teams. Now, one of those was Georgia, who's a great offense just last weekend. But you're joining South Carolina, like Prairie View A&M, New Mexico State, I think was the other one. So not many shutouts this year for them, and you're one of them. And then you look at the teams they've scored 9 or more runs against in the SEC, it's mostly the bottom tier teams. I mean, Tennessee was on there, but obviously we know Tennessee didn't have the year they thought they were going to have. Neither did A&M for that matter. But South Carolina was on that list. Kentucky was on that list, I believe. And then Mississippi State. Mississippi State and South Carolina are the only 2 on both lists. So that's not good company to be in. I will say this. I've seen some people be like, hey, I'm fine with getting knocked out. Now we can go home. We can get rested. We can get ready for the regional and make a run. While I understand that, I don't ever think it is good to lose and get home early unless you're a team that's been battling injuries. And it's like, we just need some time off. Like, we just have to get some time off. I think if you're a team like Mississippi State, who was struggling for a lot of the year, you're just now starting to roll. You need to keep that rolling as much as you can.
I mean, there were some injuries, but everyone who was banged up was back for this game.
Right.
I mean, it'll obviously be great to get them a little bit more rest, but I understand the point. But, I mean, this is what everyone was – this is the A&M team people thought that they were going to be going
into. Well, and they're desperate. They showed right before they were the last 4 in, so they're right on that bubble.
You got their ace, and the guy who's going to be a top 15 pick in the MLB draft hit a grand slam.
Right.
That's the concern when you play a team like this. They might not be as good as they were supposed to be, but they still have a couple of the horses to really, get the win when they need it. And you gave them extra opportunities, and you can't do that.
Yeah, Mississippi State looked like a team that knew they had sealed up a regional. And A&M looked like a team that was on the bubble, and they needed to get some wins. And that win might have put them in for sure. I mean, they'll play Auburn tomorrow. or later on today, actually. They play Auburn later on today. And if they win that game, then they're probably definitely in at that point. But they looked like a desperate team that knew that they had to kind of make a statement here in this tournament by winning at least one, maybe two to get in, whereas Mississippi State looked like a team that, hey, we made this great run at the end of the year. We're good. We're set. We're in. We're probably not getting up to a 2 unless we go on this incredible run. And so it's not the end of the world. Pico not having to pitch this week, I guess, is a good thing. But that's really the only positives I think you can take away, because it was just it's a really sad performance. Because I thought the way they've been playing, they would come out with a little more fight.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the positive is it doesn't hurt you really. I mean, what are you going to go down to the next regional?
Should have. And again, regionals in general, it's all about matchups, and we've talked about that a lot. You could have went on a run in this tournament and get put in a regional that it's not a good matchup for you, and then you could get bounced like this and get put in a regional that was a pretty favorable matchup for you. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. But all right, coming up next, how does this affect Mississippi State's postseason chances? We'll break that down. All right, so the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel also makes it very easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. That's the best part about it. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. So like I mentioned, the same game parlay. So if you're watching, Oklahoma City and Minnesota played the other night, or New York Knicks and Pacers played the night before, you're watching that game and you're like, man, SGA's having a heck of a second half. All right, I'm going to see if I can't match some stuff together to put a parlay together. Or Minnesota shooting the 3-ball terribly. Maybe I'm going to put the under on their 3-point. Or, Jalen Brunson, who seems like always is going off in the fourth quarter. I'm going to put something over on his fourth quarter points. Whatever that may be, throw a bet on it. And also, you can get $200 in bonus bets, and all you have to do is get your first $5 bet, make it hit. So make it an easy bet. Throw it out. SGA, 1 point. Boom. Throw it out there. If that's something that's available, put it out there and you get $200 in bonus bets. If you are new to FanDuel, listen up. It's the perfect time to sign up because, like I just mentioned, you head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so how does that loss mess with your postseason outlook? Not a whole lot would be my answer. I mean, we did talk about the way they were playing, and there was one prediction that had them as a 2 seed in a regional. So there was an outside chance of that. That's over. That dream is most likely done. So that's where it affects it the most. The other thing, in my opinion, is, and just kind of going off of Baseball America, they put out ones almost every day, but the most recent one had them in has them as a 3 seed in UCLA's region. So in Los Angeles, UCLA's the 1, Arizona's the 2, then Mississippi State, then San Diego. That's a region that I would like, that I'm I just mentioned last segment, you could get blown out, but get put in a region that you're comfortable with. And that would be one I think they would be comfortable with. It's very similar to the softball. Now, they're not playing against the best pitcher in the country like they did in softball, but it's one that I think they are right there with Arizona, the 2nd seed. And so if you just get to that regional final, anything can happen.
Yeah, and that's where it is. This didn't hurt them in any way, really. I mean, you can say you blew your chance at the 2 seed. I mean, that's a pipe dream anyway. You would have to make probably the championship game to guarantee that, and you're still might be looking at some weird matchup situation with someone in another conference. So the loss, it sucks for this to be the last game before the tournament. But as long as these guys are, they're college athletes, which in this day and age is, for all intents and purposes, a professional athlete. Right. So if you're going to be a professional athlete, you got to flush the last one. And if they can do that, this game is meaningless because it didn't hurt you. Your pitching staff can rest. None of the starters were used. And Pico needs some rest. We've seen that. He's worn down a little bit down the stretch. Great. The bullpen, which was used a lot toward the end of the year, they get some rest. The guys who came back, who were banged up in the Missouri series, but came back for this one, hey, they'll be ready to go. So, it really, this just, as long as they're mentally tough, it didn't change anything.
Yeah, I agree. And I just mentioned how that would be a really good region to be in. Similar to Washington, who was the 2 seed in softball. Washington had lost 5 of their last 8 games heading into that. Arizona's the same way. They've lost 5 of their last 8. Now they're about to play here, and like depending on when you listen to this, they might have already played, but they're starting at 7 a.m. Central Time. So depending on where you're or actually that's 7 a.m. Mountain Time, so 9 a.m. So depending on when you're watching, they could already be underway. But they're a team that's struggling, and then UCLA is a team that's won 6 of their last 10, so they're 6-4 in their last 10. So they're also a team that is, and they also have a game against I guess Mountain Time. Is Mountain Time an hour ahead? Is it 8?
Yeah. So why are we using Mountain Time?
Yeah, well, it's because it's on Arizona's website, and so they're going to put Mountain Time. But I was thinking the Pacific Time is 2 hours ahead.
Yeah.
UCLA's Pacific Time, they're playing at 10 a.m. than our time. So we'll see what happens there. But both those teams are struggling. They were both teams that were really good early in the year, just like Washington was, who was struggling at this point in the season. That would be a region you would like. If you got put in that, you are very happy as a Mississippi State fan because you're the hottest team, despite this loss, in that region.
Yeah, my biggest concern when you get into like postseason play, when you get into these series, and we see it every year in Major League Baseball, and in college baseball, you see it, but it's a little bit harder to keep track of just because there's so many pitchers and so many teams. When you get in the postseason, the teams with the dominant starters are the ones that make the deepest runs.
Yeah, and have the best bullpen.
So you need to be – I just want to be in a region where I'm not dealing with aces left and right. Yeah. Give me one where like every staff has an ace, but not every ace is a true ace. So give me a bunch of guys who are very good pitchers, but are not someone that I'm concerned is going to go 8 innings and strike out 15 people. Like that.
Yeah, you're right on.
That's all that matters. I mean, because people who are cold get hot when it's playoffs time, especially if they have a little more time off or they get hot in the tournament. Baseball is such a weird game, and we saw why in this one. 2 errors on routine 5 balls turned into a 6-run inning, just very quickly. So weird breaks happen, and it's just I'm just hoping to get in a region without a bunch of aces. That's really where I'm at.
Yeah, and I saw someone say, hey, 2021, we lost in the first round, and then we took off and won the national championship. That team had some pitchers, man. Yeah. That team was, first off, it was a way better roster in general, but it had some pitchers. And that's been one of the biggest question marks about this team is it doesn't have a lot of pitching depth. And that's why you see it's not like softball where you can pitch the same pitcher over and over. So if you don't have a lot of depth, it's okay as long as you got that one that's really good. I think nowadays you need probably 2 even in softball. But baseball, you have to pitch, 4 or 5 pitchers in a regional because of it, like starting pitchers, or let's see, 4 pitchers. Because if you get in the loser bracket and all that, maybe 5 if you lost then in the regional, or if you won the regional championship and had to play again. Yeah, I mean it's just insane how different it is, and that's why the deeper pitching staffs usually are the ones that advance. And that's why a lot of times you'll see these teams that you're like, man, I never really even heard of that team, but they can go on a little run. Like Oral Roberts, I believe it was like 2 years ago. They went to the World Series because they had some dominant pitchers on their staff. And so that's the one thing that worries me about Mississippi State. We obviously know Pico's there. We think Evan is there the way he's been playing lately. It would have been great if they could have finished off and got Ryan McPherson some confidence, and maybe he's that guy. Ben Davis has done pretty good out of the bullpen. But, I mean, you're struggling right now.
Yeah, and you need the workhorse, and you need like 2 guys you can count on to go out there and not lose the game. Right. And then after that, you're kind of in who's available territory.
Right.
And which, I mean, there's ways to maneuver around it. I mean, obviously rules are different with college versus pros, which we've seen it a couple times. People get creative, like 2018 Red Sox, when they pulled out, instead of having their starters do bullpens, they had them just pitch in the 7th and 8th innings. because their bullpen sucks.
Right.
So you can get creative when, necessity is the mother of invention. Well, sometimes you got to get weird with your pitching staffs and playoff time. So you hope Pico has rest, his arm's feeling great. He can carry you through game 1. You hope Evan is good enough to get you a win in game 2, and you figure out game 3.
Yeah. And that's all you can hope for. All right, coming up next, Brodie McWhorter put on a show at the Rivals camp. We'll break it down. All right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so camp season is here, and for those that don't know, there's 2 big times for
those who don't celebrate.
Yeah, for those that don't celebrate. No, for those that don't know, there's 2 big opportunities for guys to really vault up the rankings. One of them is obviously the series and the camps and all those that they do in the offseason, and the other one, the most obvious one, is by your play during the season in the actual game. So this is a big time. We talked about Brodie kind of being a under the radar that's just now kind of getting some buzz. We talked about that when he committed. Well, he got invited out to this Rivals camp, and they listed the best quarterbacks from the camp. And Jace Johnson was number 1. He's the number 5 quarterback at his in the country. He's a top 30 player. Like, makes a lot of sense. Teddy Gerard, I think Gerard. They messed up the R here, but they have it over here. So he was second. Neither one of those guys have committed anywhere. Travis Burgess is number 3. He just committed to North Carolina. So shout out Bill Belichick. And then Brodie McWhorter.
Or Jordan Hudson.
Or Jordan Hudson. Brodie McWhorter comes in at number 4. Just briefly reading what it talked about with him. It says the Mississippi State commitment worked a consistent game all afternoon, showcasing strong mechanics and accuracy regardless of setting. McWhorter has added good weight to his frame while he maintains rock-solid athleticism, remaining comfortable inside the pocket or out before delivering strikes. And that's kind of what we talked about when we committed that we were seeing on tape.
Yeah, his athleticism is something that stood out, and also the fact that I did think he looked a little slight, and the fact that he's already starting to put on that good weight is while holding that athleticism is huge, because some people lose the athleticism. But yeah, he's already starting to get some buzz, which is great to see. It's still early, but hopefully this isn't something that vaults him up into like that consideration where the people with huge bags of money come knocking at his door too soon.
Yeah, and I will say there was 2 lines that really stood out to me in the evaluation of him. It said the maturity and experience the rising senior brings to the table was again apparent. That's obviously good that you have that maturity. But this is the part that I thought was really interesting, because I think this is one of the most important aspects for a quarterback. And it's not one of those that you see as much in college, because a lot of times you just scheme guys open, but you see it more in the pros. It said as he threw targets open and worked some of the better ball placement of the afternoon session. That is very key, especially in the NFL. Like, you have to make some tight window decisions or tight window throws, or a guy's running and you see the guy right next to him, but if I place it here, it's going to throw my receiver open. And you have to do that kind of stuff all the time, especially in the pros, but it also helps to be able to do that in the SEC. And then the last thing it said, he was seen recruiting several potential MSU targets before and after the event too. That's what you want your quarterback to be, the leader of the class. Yeah,
and that's great. And I noticed the ball placement a little bit on the highlight reel videos, but those are always the ones that are going for like the 80-yard touchdowns, not the ones that are good placement. But placement is so important. And to everyone out there, when you see a quarterback who throws a ball on someone's back hip and they got to turn around, most of the time that's done on purpose.
Right.
It's not an inaccurate throw. Don't get mad at the quarterback. That's called being smart and understanding what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The fact that he is doing that as a 17-year-old, that's huge.
Yeah. I've seen that all the time, where a guy will be coming over the middle and the quarterback will throw it low and kind of behind, and the receiver will have to like fall to catch it, and fans, oh, that was a terrible throw. And it's like, No, the safety was about to rock him if he leads him.
He just saved that man a concussion.
Yeah, he just threw that to a perfect spot for a good game, first down maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it is key. And sometimes your guys just don't win your one-on-ones, and so you got to make a difficult throw. And so it's good that he's already doing that. But all right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm Jaron. Check out my work over on Athlon Sports. A lot of college football, some NBA if you're into that as well. That's Landon McBride. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We post daily videos Monday through Friday. I know Memorial Day is coming up. We don't take days off. We'll be back. We'll post another video that day. Also, for tomorrow, there was some major basketball news. We're going to break that down tomorrow, so do not miss that episode. And until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.